Some good tonight, some bad, and sometimes baseball just breaks your heart moments. What is up? What is going on, everybody? Welcome back and welcome into the Seattle Mariners postgame recap. Mariners dropped this one tonight 6-3 to the Jays, to Toronto Blue Jays. They fall to 22-15 on the year. They will remain in first place in the American League West, and they will look to even up the series tomorrow with Logan Evans on the bump. Before I get started in the recap, as always, do me a favor. Smash the like button, hit the like button, tap the like button, whatever works for you. Helps out the channel tremendously. Comment your thoughts on the team and on the game down below. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I am on the road to 5,000 subs, so thank you to everybody for the support. I know these late night losses don't quite do as good views-wise, but, go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you're new. And I think right now, these videos, for me at least, these losses, it's a good thing they're not doing as well, because when losses do well, it's when people are frustrated, right? We're done. I'm screaming at the camera. You guys are screaming in the comments section, and we are fed up. I think right now, we can all look at that game and go, yeah, it stinks. They lost, but there was some positives. There were some negatives, and there was just some, like I said, some baseball moments where you got beat. Team's still playing pretty good ball overall, and hopefully you can bounce back and get a W tomorrow. Be a little different on this recap. I talked about the good, the bad, and the baseball. Let's look at all three of those. Then we'll get into the box score a little bit, and I'll get out of here. I'll try to keep this one a little bit shorter tonight. Every time I say I'm going to keep this one shorter, it ends up being like a longer video than normal. The bad, Luis Castillo. Luis Castillo was not good tonight, was not efficient. When you walk the first two batters of the game, you're setting yourself up for a tough night. The Jays made him pay for it. Barger hits the 2-run single. He killed the Mariners tonight, catching the line drive. He had the single to give him the 2-0 lead, the double, which started a bit of their rally, I think, in the third inning there. So he was a pest for the Seattle Mariners tonight and really helped lead the Blue Jays to victory. But yeah, you can't walk the first two guys and expect to escape that. I think you actually walked three in that first inning. The velocity was down for Castillo tonight, which was concerning as well. And this is just not a very good, not a great Jays lineup. I was like, pointing to myself. There's not a great Toronto Blue Jays lineup. And he didn't have Jimenez, who was put on the IL. Santander had a night off, and Alejandro Kirk had a night off as well. So that's a lineup that Castillo should be able to get through, limit the damage, and have some success against. That's now 2 starts against them, and he has really, really struggled. They put a lot of balls in play against him and found some hits. Castillo's been pretty solid. He's been solid his last 2 starts. 12 innings, only 1 earned run. He's done a nice job giving him those veteran starts they need with Gilbert and Kirby on the shelf right now. So he has stepped up, but today was just not good enough. Got to be better than that. And Castillo's been inconsistent at times, right? He was really good against the Tigers, great against Miami, was solid last time out against Texas. So there's been some really good starts, but then there's just been a few clunkers too. Cincinnati was a struggle tonight in Toronto, even though I will give him credit. He worked through it and got through that start with 5 innings, but there's been a lot of this, and that's kind of been the rotation as a whole. Bryce Miller's been the same way. Brian Woo's been steady, yesterday notwithstanding. Logan Evans, 2 starts, 1 good, 1 bad. Emerson Hancock has been much better since coming back up, but I think overall we'd still kind of go like this a little bit with him. You're missing the 2 best pitchers in this rotation right now. And you're probably fortunate that it hasn't cost you, I don't know why that came out in a Boston accent, but it hasn't cost you more, to be honest. So the rotation's been a bit of a problem. And, tonight, second game in a row where they get down 5-0, and you can't expect to keep doing that and win ball games. To have 2 comebacks of 5-0 back to back and win them both. Not something you see a whole lot in baseball. And truthfully, you could probably make a strong case they should have won this baseball game. They had ample opportunities. They had a lot of line drives that were stung and caught. So there's a very good case they should have won this baseball game. You look at expected batting average, the Mariners were higher than Toronto tonight. That doesn't tell you everything about a baseball game. But despite all that, they did have opportunities in this one to still win it. But Castillo's got to be better. And the velocity topping out at looked like 93. Definitely a little concerning. Could just be he didn't have it today. Might say he felt it in the bullpen. They didn't have it, and sometimes that happens. But the starting pitching's got to stabilize a little bit. Now, the good news is George Kirby is going to make 2 more rehab assignments or starts. I think one of those is going to be tomorrow. And I think they're giving him 6 days in between. So then probably next Friday. And then I think it's going to be like May 20th to 24th, somewhere in there, that we should see George Kirby back on a mound. So encouraging news there for the Seattle Mariners. I think it would be May 22nd, I guess, if you're going off the 6 days off. Logan Gilbert's going to start throwing off a mound here soon. So, maybe like second week in June, something like that. So these guys are on the mend. It looks pretty good that you are going to get both of them back. And that's going to be a big boost to this rotation for sure. But Castillo's definitely still going to be in there. And he's got to be better. Like I said, just not efficient today. Too many pitches, only going 5 innings. A lineup that he should be able to get through and not give up too many runs. Listen, yeah, every lineup has its day. I mean, the Rockies put up 10 runs tonight on the Padres. It happens. Everybody's going to get their hits and their runs somewhere. And while this Blue Jays lineup is scuffling, there are some guys in there, right? Vlad's good, Bichette's good. But those really weren't the guys that killed you tonight. It was Barger and Lukes and a few others. So just because Castillo's got to be better. Disappointing start for him. So he'll make his next start against the Yankees. That's going to be a lot more difficult. That's a tougher lineup. So hopefully he's better, but disappointing start. So that would be the bad. The offense, I love the fight. I really do. The fact that they were down 5-0 and this game did not feel over is such a nice feeling. Now, I'd prefer them not to keep getting down 5-0. That would be ideal. It'd be nice to get up 5-0 and hold on to that lead. You don't want to keep having to battle back. This is now the second game in a row down 5-0 where they have fought back and made this a game. And that 8th inning, they had an opportunity to definitely take the lead there. I'll talk about that 8th inning here in a few minutes, but they did well. They battled back on offense and they had a ton of line drives. They could have easily had 8 or 9 runs in this game. I mean, Julio stung that line drive at 112 that Barger caught. That gets down the line. It's 5-3. Ben Williamson was robbed of a home run. Could have been 5-4 right there. JP had a line drive with like an 830 expected batting average that Bichette caught. Master Boney's line drive that Vlad knocked down had a 600 expected batting average and was hit at like 99 miles per hour. That could have easily gotten through, tied the game, and put runners at first and third, where a sac fly might win you that baseball game. So some hard hits that just didn't find holes. That's baseball. If you hope over 162, that stuff evens out. The Mariners guys are going to win some games this year where they give up line drives. They get some bloops to fall. And I'm not just saying that's what the Jays did. Jays hit some balls hard. They deserve the W, absolutely. But there are games like that, right? That is, when you play 162 of these things, there are going to be weird things that happen. I mean, I don't think this game could be summed up any better than that bottom of the 8th inning. Master Boney line drive, knocked down, thrown home, get the run. Mariners don't score. Heineman hits that base hit in the top of the 9th that breaks his back, can't even find where the ball is. It's just parachuting up in the air, drops in, base hit, and he ends up scoring a run. Now, Troy Taylor was not particularly sharp, I don't think, in that 9th inning, but that guy ends up coming around and scoring. That's this game right here. It can break your heart sometimes. There are some frustrating moments with it, but, the good teams find a way to bounce back from it, right? Mariners want to be AL West champs. They want to be a playoff team. You throw those games away, and you bounce back and get a win tomorrow. That's what championship teams do. These games do happen to the best of them, but you bounce back and win the next day, and you don't let it become a spiraling effect that knocks you down and you can't recover from. So that's really going to be the key. Now, I will say with all that stuff, this ball was hit hard. This ball had this average. Aaron Goldsmith made a great point talking about exit velo on the broadcast and talking about hitting it hard and, all that stuff. But at the end of the day, you can't just go up there chasing exit velos either. They do not hand out trophies to go, well, the Mariners didn't get in, but their exit velo was better than this team, so we're going to give them the trophy. Not how it works. You got to go out. You got to win a baseball game. That's something the Mariners did not do tonight. They did not win this baseball game. But I thought the offense was fine. I mean, if they keep hitting the ball like that, doing that, I think they're absolutely fine. They're still stinging the ball. And it's actually nice. It's refreshing that, like I said, down 5-0. I'm not watching this team and giving up on it, right? I'm sitting there going, they have a chance. I truly believed in that 8th inning they were going to win that baseball game. And I mean, for so long, we've seen the team in those situations, and there's no hope, right? We're sitting there going, there's absolutely no way they are going to win this. They're just not. They're going to find a way to mess it up. Now, Ironically, they did, but I don't know. That's not really irony, is it? That's just how it goes sometimes. But I believed, even with Masterboni, Tavares, still and more, I was like, they are going to win this baseball game. When Masterboni was up in that count 3-1, he's going to walk. They're going to keep the line moving. They are winning this baseball game. It wasn't just I hope they win. I believed they were going to. It's a nice feeling. It's something I haven't felt even last year when they had the big lead. I didn't always feel that. The offense still didn't give me a ton of confidence. It's giving me more this year. That doesn't mean there wasn't some bad on the offensive side. After that Masterboni line drive, Tavares had a tough at-bat, and so did Dylan Moore. Donovan Solano had a rough at-bat in the 6th inning. So, I mean, there was still some bad, right? Anytime you lose a baseball game, you never did something perfect. But I do think there's scenarios in this game with the Julio line drive, the Williamson and home run, or almost home run, and the Masterboni line drive where you play that game again, the Mariners win this game 8-5. You know what I mean? So not that I'm too frustrated about there. And, as long as you can bounce back and win tomorrow, these games you can throw away. You just, like I said, you don't want them to kind of spiral. And I will say when Masterboni hit that ball and Vlad made the play, it did kind of have that feel then of like, maybe not. Because then I think Garcia settled in a little bit. It's like, okay, I got an out. Now I can get through this. I can work around it a little bit. And that helps the pitcher too. It was a line drive. It does help him settle in and go, okay, if he hits a fly ball, they get a run. It's only 5-4 and they give up the 1 run and everything like that. So you do kind of settle in there. Some good news is the Mariners did make, the Jays' big 3, Little, Garcia, and Hoffman throw a decent amount of pitches in this game. So maybe a chance that at least 1 or 2 of them is down tomorrow. And the Mariners' bullpen is pretty good to go. Spire, Vargas, Munoz, Brash, all should be ready to rock and roll tomorrow. So you should be in good spot there with the bullpen game. And the Jays did not have a day off yesterday either. So hopefully that does benefit the Mariners going forward. Sometimes it doesn't. Like if you get down 10-0 and can't do anything, it won't matter. But if you can have a close game tomorrow, you may be able to reap some of the benefits of that with the bullpen situation. So let's go ahead and climb into the box score here. Then I'll get out of here. Luis Castillo, 5 innings, 7 hits, 5 run, 5 earned, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts. Not good. Did look like a couple times he was going to settle in. After that first inning, I thought he threw all right in the second, then got 2 quick outs in the third. But unfortunately, the Jays score a couple runs there with 2 outs. And, then it's pretty much done for Castillo at that point. Did at least get through 5. You want to see starters go deeper, but he at least did get them through 5 to not completely shred the bullpen here in game 1 of this series. So not a good start, but just trying to look for a couple silver linings there from Castillo. Legumino was probably the best he's been all season. 2 innings, no hits, no runs, no walks, 3 Ks. Colin Snyder did a nice job in his 1 inning, gave up a hit and 2 strikeouts. Troy Taylor, 1 inning, 2 hits, 1 run, 1 earned, 1 walk, no Ks. Prayers for Trent Thornton going through the appendectomy. Hope he's okay. Obviously I know Thornton's been struggling, but we're talking about people's personal health. I always wish them the best. This is baseball. It's not that important, the grand scheme of things. So hopefully everything goes well for Thornton, and maybe a little rehab can find himself and get back on the mound here and be more the pitcher he's been the last couple of years and not quite as home run prone as he's been in 2025 so far. So that would be great to see. Problem for Troy Taylor, the Heineman hit happens, then a sac bunt from Clase. Vlad Jr. gets him. Vlad's a great hitter. Want to see a little bit more swing and miss from Taylor. I don't know if he even had one today. Let's go to Savant and see if I can pull up if Troy Taylor even got a swing and miss in this one. Dodgers D-backs playing a crazy game right now. It's now 14-11 in the 9th inning. Dodgers. Let me see if I can pull this up here. Box score. Yeah, I don't even know if Taylor had a swing and miss tonight. I don't see it listed there. So got to get more swing and miss so you can maybe get out of some of those situations without giving up the run. But also tough to get on too much because that Heineman single. So we'll see. But Taylor has been not quite as great as he looked last year. I will say that. Last year looked like a legit weapon. This year, Troy Taylor looks more like a guy. But he's also pitched, 5 innings this year? And 2 of those games were in games where the Mariners were up like 13-0 in the 9th inning. So it's hard to judge guys in those outings as well. So we'll see. I think Taylor for Thornton going out, Taylor coming in could be an upgrade, but Taylor's got to pitch a little bit better than that. Let's get into the offense. Mariners collect 9 hits, only 2 walks. They do strike out 11 times, but some of that's against Little, Hoffman, and Garcia, who are good bullpen arms there. How many strikeouts did Gausman have? Yeah, Gausman only had 3, so most of that came against a really good Blue Jays back end of the bullpen there, in my opinion. So, not necessarily like the most brutal strikeout game. And again, that's not all taking into account all the line drives that the Mariners sprayed that were caught as well. JP 1 for 5 today. I don't remember his base hit. I think it was earlier in the game when they scored that run in the 3rd inning. Polanco was 1 for 5 with an RBI. Had a tough at-bat there in the 9th inning. Would have loved to see Polo get on and give Julio or Cal a chance to tie that game up. Julio 2 for 5. I thought Julio really swung the bat well tonight. His 2 base hits were solid. He had the one kind of ground ball base hit that was hit at 115 and a solid line drive base hit off Garcia. By the way, that pitch that the Blue Jays bench was yelling at that Garcia threw to Julio, sorry, that was a ball. Get over it. And I'm sorry too, but maybe I'm always a little salty after loss. I try not to be, but the Jays were barking at that one that Garcia didn't get to Julio when earlier in the game, Leody Taveras was punched down on a pitch, on a 3-2 pitch that was low. So don't want to hear it, but whatever, it happens. Benches can't always see, they go back and look at the pick, that was a ball. So it is what it is. And then Julio had that line drive that Barger caught as well at 3rd. So I thought Julio played pretty well today, sprayed a couple line drives all over the field, could have easily had a 3-hit day with a couple RBIs there. And even that in the 9th inning, how hard was that hit? His out in the 9th was hit at 105 with a 370 expected batting average. So even his last out was hit pretty hard, to be honest. So I thought a good day from Julio. Cal was 1 for 3 with a base hit. Now that was a little bit of a blooper for the Mariners, a little off the bat cue shot. They were due for one of those today and a walk. So Cal on base twice. Thought Randy had a real nice game. 2 for 3, double, a single, and a walk. Randy on base 3 times. Tough game for Rowdy. He was 0 for 2. Solano pinched hit and was dreadful, 0 for 1. It's at the point where Miles Mastroboni pinned. Now, let me go back. Solano did face it. It's Brandon Little, right? All right. Is it Brad Little? Brendan Little is really good. He is a really good reliever. I think he has the highest strikeout rate or swing and miss rate in baseball. Tough at bat to come in and face. And like I always say, it's not making excuses for Solano. I just want to be clear, that is a tough at bat that a lot of hitters could strike out on. However, the problem is that Solano's been awful, and it wasn't even a competitive strikeout, right? It wasn't even oh man, he battled there and saw 7-8 pitches, fouled him off, and Little got him. It was 3 pitches, see you later. I don't even know if Little pitched well because Solano's been so bad that it's hard to tell whose fault it was. Was it Little pitching great or was it Solano being terrible? So 2 things can be true at once, right? Little's really good, and that at-bat from Solano was atrocious. Like I said, Miles Mastroboni pinched hit for Solano, and it was the right call. Got to a good 3-1 count, hit a line drive. Happens, baseball. Leody Taveras was 1 for 4 with an RBI single. He got the hit off Little, got that game 5-3. That was another opportunity where the Mariners had some chances to tie that baseball game up in that inning. Then Dylan Moore struck out against Little. Taveras did have a tough at-bat in that 8th inning. Like I said, I think Garcia kind of found it after that out to Mastroboni and got dialed in at that point. But, and then Taveras should have had a walk also against Gausman earlier in the game. But, kind of a baseball, it happens. But good to see the RBI hit from Taveras. Tough game for Dylan Moore, 0 for 4. He would probably be your guy that left the most runs out there. Had that 2nd and 3rd opportunity, I think, in the 6th inning. Base hit would have tied it. And then in the 8th inning as well. So, again, Demo crushes lefties, not quite as efficient against right-handed pitching, but, with the injuries right now going on, he's your best bet at second base to probably get it done. So just unfortunate, couldn't find a gap somewhere and get it done. And then Ben Williamson 1 for 4. And remember, he was robbed of his 2nd big league home run. Actually encouraging. Ben Williamson, and apparently it's the Blue Jays that he hits home runs against. Ben Williamson could have easily had his 2nd home run. And it's a guy that people didn't think had any pop. And if it weren't for Varsho going Spider-Man there, Ben Williamson would have 2 home runs in a couple weeks being up. So, for a guy that we didn't think would have any pop, or people said wouldn't have any pop, a couple long balls, more than Donovan Solano can say. So, But he didn't, right? Again, baseball, it happens. I think that's kind of the story tonight. I'm not going to lie, I would feel a lot better if you had a Logan Gilbert or George Kirby going tomorrow. In fact, if you did, I probably wouldn't even bat an eye at this. I'm a little bit nervous. I don't fully trust Logan Evans yet. And then Bryce Miller has not been great. So I do have a little bit of nerves with that. But, Bowden Francis hasn't been great for the Jays. He's gotten a year over 5. And then Urena makes his, I think, first start of the year for the Jays in Lucas's spot. So, you still, I think, could have a potential advantage in the matchups there. So, we'll see how it goes. But yeah, definitely, could be feeling the effects of the pitching injuries here. Mariners kind of quietly 2-3 in their last 5. But it's tough in baseball because they win the next 2. It's another series win here. So, you play the long game with baseball. It's a long season. So hopefully the Mariners can bounce back and get it done tomorrow. Because, this is one you can throw away if you bounce back. You just don't want to spiral. So have a great night, everybody. Like, comment, subscribe. And as always, bounce back tomorrow and go Mariners. Peace.